Hi, welcome to my video on the Mini 4 Pro, the DJI Mini 4 Pro, and the 10 improvements that it has over the Mini 3 Pro. Let's take a look at those 10 different improvements now. The first one relates to the collision avoidance sensors. They're now fisheye sensors and they're aiming at 45 degrees, and the front sensors and the side sensors and the back sensors, so that you're getting a complete 360 degree collision avoidance now, rather than the front and the back only, which was on the Mini 3 Pro. You'll see that there's down legs at the front here, so when the drone lands, it's more stable than the old Mini 3 Pro. And I think there's some antennae in here as well, which link to this controller. The signal strength between this controller and the drone is a big improvement as well. It's OcuSync 4, and I think it'll go up to about 20 kilometers rather than the old 12 kilometers of the old one. Where it does help is when you're trying to avoid trees when the drone is following things, because the signal strength is stronger, and that's where you'll see a big improvement compared to the Mini 3 Pro. Mini 4 Pro and 360 degree tracking. Let's go out in the field now and see the 360 degree tracking in action.
The first one we'll look at is auto, which is my least favourite because it's unpredictable. First piece of advice is keep your finger over the pause button when you're flying in 360 tracking, but especially in the auto mode. First, go into control and scroll down through control and select subject scanning when you're using any 360 tracking, because it puts the crosses, you can see the crosses on me, you can see the crosses on the car, and that's what it does. It puts targets us. Right, let's go into auto first, press go, which I'm going to do now, and then the first mode comes up is hold, and that's staying in the same profile, following me at the same angle and as I walk along. And then unpredictably it'll change, and it's changed to helix now, so it's going to go around me in like a rising circle, and then it's back to hold. This is the unpredictability of the auto mode. It'll also throw in the odd circle as well as you walk along. As I move along now, there's the helix come in. I'm not a fan of auto mode because it puts these different flight patterns in at its own request. I'm not controlling this at all. It's on hold at the moment, but if I stand here for a while, you'll see circle now kicks in. I didn't select circle, and that's what the unpredictability of this mode is. Let's now move on to my favourite mode, which is spotlight. You'll see I'm targeted with subject scanning. I'm now going to draw a box around me, so I'm actually now the centre of spotlight. Going to hit spotlight, and away we go. Now as I walk around, spotlight is like having a tripod in the sky. The drone stays still, and I walk around and I move, the drone moves with me and the camera tracks me. Now I've pushed the left stick up, so the drone has gone up. The drone has moved, the tripod has got higher, but it's still tracking me with the camera. I'm now pulling the right stick down, and the drone is going backwards and also going upwards. I push the drone up. I can move the drone round as much as I want using the sticks in spotlight mode. That's why I like it. I've got full control of this drone. You see I'm pushing it away, and as I walk towards it now, it'll move and it's still tracking me. The next one we'll look at is point of interest, POI. See me now hitting point of interest. I've targeted myself. And let's watch the drone go round. I've set the pace that it's going to go round me at, and it's just going to circle me, and I'm the target. And gently around me at a fixed speed, and I'm the point of interest. And if I leave it now, I can use the sticks to push it up, which I've just done. Push the left stick up, it's pushing it up a little bit. I've used the stick to push it a little bit further away from me. I'm now bringing the stick to pulling it down. So I can move this drone around and pushing it away a touch. It's still going round me, circling me as the point of interest. We'll now look at parallel. I'm selecting active shots. I'm going to go to the far end and select parallel. I've now clicked on parallel, and it's going to track me on my right shoulder at 90 degrees and stay at 90 degrees. So as I walk forward, the drone is following at the same distance and is tracking me. It continues to track me at 90 degrees as I walk forward. Now when I turn, it's now picking me up and going back the other way. I'm now going to use the sticks to move the drone upwards. I've just pushed the left stick up. I can use the sticks to bring it down. It's still staying same distance away, but now I'm using the right stick to push it further away from me. Like Spotlight and Circle, you can move the drone, and if you understand this, 360 active track is very, very powerful. We can move the drone around. Now let's look at manual mode. If we now select control and below subject scanning, which is switched on, you'll see smart shot settings. And here we come to the smart shot settings, and we've got an inner and outer circle, the radius of 5 meters for the inner and 10 meters for the outer. And you can set the inner and outer height as well. So I'll move the inner height to, let's say, 2.5 meters, and leave the outer height at 5 meters, and the distances are 5 meters for the inner track and 10 meters for the outer radius. I'll now press the manual setting and press go, and you'll see that the circle, the inner circle and the outer circle comes up, and I've got it down. I'm going to fly down to on the outer circle now, and it's at 5 meters. As I walk forward, it's behind me, so the B is behind. I now press it to go to my forward right side at 5 meters, and as I walk forward, it's staying at 5 meters high, 10 meters distance, and tracking me. I've now hit it down to 2.5 meters, and the inner circle, which is 5 meters away. I've now hit the outer circle. Now it's gone back to 10 meters away. That, folks, is manual tracking.
Let's go out into the field now and see cruise control in action.
Cruise control can be added to any movement of the drone: forwards, backwards, sideways, upwards, downwards, and turning to the left or turning to the right. But you have to have movement or momentum for cruise control to engage and work. The best way to start and stop the cruise control on the DJI drone is to pre-program it to work with the C2 button on the back of the controller. The way you do this is you go into the settings for the C2 button, press the control tab at the top and scroll down and go to button customization, and then pick up the C2 button, which is at the top. The C2 button will then toggle the cruise control on and off as you press it. Let's take a look at cruise control working in the field now. Drone's up in the air. We're going to start to fly forward by pushing the right stick forward. I'll push the right stick forward now. Drone will start to fly forward, and then I'm going to enable cruise control by hitting the C2 button. It's cruising along, and I'm going to hit the C2 button again now, and it's disabled it. Now I'm going to put 2 or 3 layers of cruise control on this next flight. So we're flying forward. First layer is flying forward. Second layer, I'm going to start to rise and put that in. And the third layer, I'm going to turn to the left and put that third layer in. So I'm pressing the cruise control as I'm putting the action in. And you'll see we've got 3 actions now working. And now I hit it again, the C2 button, and we've disabled the cruise control. Here is another location. Cruise control is enabled at a really smooth and slow speed. You can see it's cruising along really slowly at 0.6, 0.5 meters per second. This is where cruise control is really useful, because you can maintain this really slow speed. And I've just disabled that now just by pressing the C2 button. Let's pull it back again and start again. So I'm going to start to push forward now with the right stick, Going to enable that speed at just over 1 meter a second. I'm going to start to turn to the right and put another layer in. So the turning layer's in now. It's going to continue, and then I'll disable it there.
Let's go out in the field now and set down some waypoints and watch the drone fly on the predefined course.
To start waypoints, hit the waypoint symbol on the left of the screen. And then that will activate, when you're in the waypoint mode, the C1 button, and the C1 button will be exclusively for putting down waypoints. You press the C1 button and that puts down a waypoint when you're in the waypoint mode. So I've pressed the C1 button for the first waypoint, as you can see here. Now fly away a little bit from me to the next position and hit the C1 button for the second waypoint. Fly further away and turn slightly, rising, and then put the third waypoint down with the C1 button. Fly further again and higher, and hit the fourth waypoint. And then going to fly forward towards the golf course and higher as well, and hit the fifth waypoint. So we have a mission with 5 waypoints in it. If we look at the waypoint flight settings now, the speed is set at 2.5 meters a second. At the end of the flight, we've got it set to return to home, and if there's a signal loss, we've got it set to return to home. The start point is waypoint 1, so I've hit go, and I'm going to fly back to the start point. And you can see the countdown now. We're going back to the start point. The drone will now descend to the first waypoint. And there we go. And then the mission starts. And it's flying backwards. First waypoint, second waypoint, third waypoint, up to the fourth waypoint, and then forward to the fifth waypoint, and this is all flying at 2.5 meters per second. Let's now watch the first waypoint mission through the camera lens, and I've overlaid at the top right, you can see the details of the waypoint mission. So you can see we're going to third point, and then the fourth point coming up now, and then out to the fifth point. And that's the end of the mission.
On the DJI Mini 4 Pro, there is a LED light underneath which you can switch on and off. So let's take a quick look at that working now in the field with a button on and off. Or you can just leave it on auto and it'll get darker. It'll come on when you're trying to land. It lights up the landing pad as you're trying to land.
We're now looking at the controller screen. Let's click on the 3 dots at the top right, and that brings up the sub menu, and let's look at the safety first tab and scroll down to the bottom, and there you'll see the auxiliary LED light. That's the light underneath the drone, and we can press leave it on auto, or we can press on, and then that pushes the light on. If we click back to auto now, it'll go and work in the daylight, and as it gets darker the light will come on. In the daylight it'll stay off. Now we can switch the light back on, and let's go outside and have a look, and there you can see the drone flying with the light on. We can toggle the light off again in a short while. There we go, and now the light's back on auto. They're back on again. When you put the light on auto, because it's outside, it's in daylight, the light will go off, and then it'll come on automatically at night as it gets darker if you've still got it on auto. Moving on to advanced return to home and precision landing. Under the safety heading, you'll see there's AR settings here. When you click on that, it'll show you the AR home point, AR return to home route,
and AR aircraft shadow. Those are the 3 AR settings that are available and will show you on the screen. So we've selected all 3 now, and they need to be on optimal. For if you're on preset, it will use the auto return to home altitude, which is actually 50 meters. So let's have a look at it in action in the optimal setting. I'm now out in the field. I'm going to fly the drone away from me a little bit further, not too far. You can see it's 20 meters away, 22 meters away, 25 meters now. I've hit the return to home button. Drone's now starting to return to home. It's climbing to a height of about 4.5–5 meters on the way back. You can see the green route showing clearly, and now we've got the AR aircraft shadow as we come in to land on the helipad. As the drone gets towards the helipad at about 1.5 meters above the pad, the camera flips back up to 0 degrees rather than looking at -90, and there's the auto landing coming down. Here's another view of the aircraft shadow on a landing on a car park without a H, and you can see the camera flips up again and then lands. The 9th improvement is night mode filming for video, and you can get into it by clicking on night and then click across, and you can see you can actually record in 30, 25 or 24 frames a second. What the night mode does, it really enhances the ISO in the image and other settings in the image to boost the color profile, and you can see when we come out of it there how it drops back. And finally, let's take a look at the improved and better camera controls and settings in the Mini 4 Pro. There is now a 10-bit D-Log-M color profile available in the settings. And here you can see we go into the settings, and there's the color profile, and there are 3 alternatives that you can choose from here. Also, when you're looking at the display, you can put a color display assist on, which gives a strong boost to the color on the display, or you can switch it off, as you can see it here now. Now, when we're looking at the different profiles, you've got the first one, which is the normal 8-bit profile, which was on the Mini 3 Pro. There's the HLG, which stands for Hybrid Log Gamma, and that's a 10-bit profile similar to HDR. And then we've got the D-Log-M profile, which is a big change, which is a massive move forward, which is a 10-bit color profile. And that's what most people use for the editing on the profile. There is an improved slow motion setting on the camera as well. So you go into slow-mo and you can go for 100 frames a second or 200 frames a second in 1080p or 100 frames a second in 4K. Those are your alternatives. Let's take a look at a slow motion video recorded outside at 100 frames a second. And here we go now. This is the normal speed. And I will increase this in the edit to 200%, giving it a speed increase of 200%. And now I'll give it a speed increase of 800%. And you can see the differences in the speeds. The DJI Mini 4 Pro also has a hyperlapse mode included in the software. Hyperlapse combines time-lapse photography with a drone capturing a series of still images at time-lapse intervals, say 2 or 5 seconds, and these images are then put together to create a video. The Mini 4 Pro runs the same software as the Mavic 3 Pro, its bigger brother, and here is an excerpt from my Mavic 3 Pro video about hyperlapse. This has 4 direction settings. These are free, circle, course lock and waypoint. The free flying lets you control the Mavic 3 Pro when hyperlapsing. The circle goes round, active tracking the person or object at a set speed. The waypoints allows you to choose multiple points and then navigate to each waypoint in order to take images while doing the hyperlapse. And the final one is course logs, which is the most straightforward, which is the one I'm going to use today. The course lock allows you to choose a course, and then the Mavic 3 Pro will continue in that direction for the duration of the hyperlapse. DJI limit the interval for hyperlapse to a photograph every 2 seconds, and this is quite a good starting point. You can also make it longer, say 5 seconds for a quicker moving scene. It'll go up to 30 seconds. You can also choose the speed of the drone. DJI does all of the calculations, takes the hyperlapse, and then creates the video at the end in the app. It gives you the duration, the number of frames, i.e. the photos they're going to take, and the video length. A hyperlapse of 125 frames, or 125 photographs, makes a 5-second video at 25 frames a second. Let's fast forward through the hyperlapse photographs and watch the 5-second video at the end. And here it's flying back to the home point. Now you'll see the 5-second video play after this is finished. Here we go. You can see the clouds moving, and that's the 5-second video. If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe to the channel, or watch the next video in the playlist, or the new videos that we've just recently downloaded.